to School Academy for DLT4ALL. As today, we are very happy to have with us Dr. Glib Konotop to present to us some use cases in regards to blockchain technologies. So please allow me to introduce Dr. Konotop, and then I will pass the floor to him. Glib, he's a senior business development manager at Unisoft, and since 2018, focusing on artificial intelligence, blockchain for education, and supply chain, as well as fintech. He's responsible for developing long-term relations with key accounts and organize technical teams to tackle with customers' needs, ensuring that business goals are achieved through the cutting edge technologies that they're using at the company. Glib has more than 3 years of commercial experience in innovative technologies and smart solutions development, and in addition to more than 7 years as a scientist, tutor, and a mentor. He holds a PhD focusing on institutional mechanisms for external financing in emerging market economies. Glib, the floor is yours. I would like to thank you again for being with us this evening, and of course, all our participants. So I'm passing the floor to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sola. Hi, everyone. So I'm really pleased to be here today and to share some maybe snapshots of my experience in DLT technologies with you. So thanks for invitation, Valentina. Thanks for organizing the session, and I hope that you'll enjoy my presentation and what I'm going to share today with you. So yeah, let's start. So again, thanks for presenting me and introducing myself. I'll just spend a couple of seconds presenting my experience in crypto field. So I've started my career as a PhD in international economics and as assistant professor at the Institute of International Relations of Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev. So I've spent around 5 years preparing my PhD thesis, which are about the attracting of FDI to emerging markets and evaluating of institutional mechanisms and creating like a positive, investment climate for FDIs. So yeah, I spent 5 years. I was mentoring students, helping them to achieve their goals, holding like lectures, seminars, and so on. And at the institute, I was maybe the first one who designed a brand new course called Blockchain in the International Business. So I hope this legacy is still there and students enjoy my course. After and during my stay at the university, I had my own crypto project. So I was one of the co-founders and co-investors in crypto mining project and crypto trading project. That was our personal initiatives with our co-founders. So we had our own mining rigs. So I was responsible for their setup, for mining Ethereum, for staking our coins at the online wallet on one of crypto exchanges, and then responsible for our investment strategies. So I was trading crypto assets for more than 1 year, exactly in 2017 before the hype. So it was quite a profitable project, and I can share my experience in that as well. And that was the time that I've decided that like cutting edge technologies like blockchain, cryptos, are those that will help enterprises and companies around the world achieve their digital challenges. And that was the period when I've decided to join IT sphere, join the company that I'm working right now for, and So right now my responsibility is to help our customers and partners build their own crypto and blockchain-based solutions. So yeah, if you have any questions during the presentation, so please feel free to ask. And yeah, if you have any questions after the presentation, here are my contacts on the screen. So just feel free to write me an email or add me on LinkedIn. Would be happy to establish connection with you and talk more about the blockchain. So yeah, let's move forward. Just some statistics about the company I'm working for. So we are Unix old. We are 15, almost 16 years old right now on the market. So we are based in Kyiv in Ukraine. We are a team of 120 developers right now, and yeah, we are also based in London. And we are working mostly with the startups and SMEs around the world, mainly Western Europe, Northern America, like Canada, the United States, also the United Kingdom, Germany, and the Netherlands. We have some major clients in Israel as well, in Singapore, in Australia, and other parts of the world. So we are quite a global company. And so we have quite vast technical experience, as you can see from this screen. But what's worse, for today's meeting, we are really blockchain enthusiasts and experts. So among our tech stack is a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and IBM's Hyperledger Fabric. So those are, I would say, three cornerstones of our blockchain experience, and we use them actively to build blockchain-based solutions. So yeah, let's talk about the blockchain. So Sola asked me to present some use cases today and share real experience from real life where the blockchain could be adopted, and I think that's the good topic for today's discussion. So just maybe a small remark. So of course that is not like an entire adaptability of the blockchain technology. We have to understand that. So those are just use cases that we experienced in real life with our real customers, but the potential of the blockchain technology is much bigger. So yeah, let's start. So these are, I would say, the main industries and areas of business where blockchain could be adopted and is adopted due to our experience. So you should know that blockchain is all about the distributed ledger and transactions inside this ledger. So it's like a big book of subsequent transactions, where we can track the origins of the first one and understand the whole ledger, the whole chain of the transactions. So first, I would say the option for adoption is some kind of loyalty programs in retail chains, where we can use blockchain and exactly reward points for incentivize users and our customers to use our product. So that's the way we can tokenize the rewards and make it in a distributed way, so that everyone can be sure that discounts or incentives, they are in place, and the application itself allows to use those discounts and so on. Another one is retail and supply chain management. I would say they are interconnected, because the main, I would say, challenge that tackles blockchain and distributed ledger technologies in this area is transparency and understanding and ensuring of the genuineness of the product. I think everybody know that there are many counterfeit and fraud on the market, as well as that the supply chain industry itself is a quite conservative industry. So the players, the most major players on the market, they're quite big but conservative companies, so they are not innovative, and they use very traditional schemes of the supply chain, transportation, logistics, and so on. And the blockchain is the technology that may come into the scene and help them to innovate the industry at all by adding transparency, by adding promptness, by adding some like insuredness of the balance of the interests between the stakeholders. And later on I'll show you how exactly this could be achieved. And of course, by adding transparency, by adding tracking of the goods life cycle, we are able to track and ensure the origins of the product, that it was duly produced by authorized manufacturer and there is no fraud and counterfeit. Another big area, I would say, of the blockchain adoption is finances. I think many of you heard about the distributed finance technologies right now, which are emerging quite rapidly. So that comes, I would say, first and at the very first, from the low transaction fees in the crypto world. So I suppose many of you already used cryptocurrencies, and you know that an average transaction like in crypto is almost nothing in terms of fees and payments for money transferring. That is why some of the business services they might be, I would say, ported just to directly to the crypto world, so that there is no need, to use pricey fiat money transferring processes like banks, even e-currency, like and so on. And at the same time, cryptocurrency and blockchain-based solutions, they are very secured, and they will allow us to ensure also to reduce fraud, because it's really hard to corrupt blockchain network. It's almost immutable, and at the same time we can introduce such technologies as KYC, if you heard about that. So it stands for Know Your Customer, and anti-money laundering compliances that are almost everywhere right now, and regulators in different markets, they insist on having AML compliances incorporated into the code that we are building. And also, so healthcare is one of the major pillars for blockchain adoption, just because in many countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and others, there is a big cluster, I would say, of medical compliance of the personal medical records, and there is always an issue around who is using medical records, who is storing medical records, who is eligible to retrieve some information from medical records. And here is the situation when blockchain may come in handy, just because you can easily track the accesses to those medical records by tokenizing the accesses itself. So you can issue kind of a digital token, which will be your digital identity for businesses or individuals, and you can regulate the rights regarding the information that you are able to access or not. Moreover, introducing of a distributed ledger technology will allow to keep the records safe, because they are distributed, and almost immutable for corruption by the stakeholders, because the ledger is distributed and everyone holding like a part of the system, like the whole system on the nodes, and it's almost impossible to corrupt the records. And again, the control and of the logistics, like tracking and tracing of the goods, drugs, also will help to avoid counterfeit and fraud in the industry, which is quite popular in today's world. So yeah, let's proceed with case studies that I have prepared for you today. Those are chosen cases by me, and hope you'll enjoy them. So I'll start with a few cases that we've built for fintech and security companies. So the first one is called factoring solution, built on top of the Ethereum and Parity. So the client was the company from Poland, operating in the so it's a big retailer. They are operating in retail industry, and they are building the solution. So they are reselling goods for children, and they asked us to build the solution to basically help them to manage their accounts receivables. So I suppose you know that factoring process in the real world is a quite cumbersome process. So you have to transfer your invoices to the factoring company. They have to, approve them, and they have to pay you a discount for them, and this way you'll, free up your cash. So it takes time. It's not very cheap. I would say it's pricey, and it takes time. So so this company that was is reselling goods for children. They are quite innovative, and they asked us to build a blockchain-based platform exactly to manage their account receivables. So the solution that we've offered basically was connected to their internal systems, where all the invoices were secured by API, and so blockchain helped us to tokenize those invoices. So each invoice was equal to some token on the platform, and the token had all the characteristics of invoices. So it had like the amount of money that should be paid to this retailer, like the due date for payment, like name of the company that is going to pay, and all other information. And at the same time, the solution was kind of marketplace, where those tokens could be sold and bought by different participants. So there is no need to go to a single factoring company and work with them. So it was like open platform for the stakeholders, so everyone was able to buy and sell the tokens, and therefore pay the required amount of money to the retailer company, so that they were able to free up their cash and do exactly the factoring operation. So after we launched the platform, so initially it was designed as an internal solution. So the company onboarded only like a private, I would say, array of stakeholders. So that was their business partners, like resellers, suppliers, and so on. But after like the pilot launch, they've decided to turn it into like a B2B offering. So the platform was sold as a ready-to-use solution to other companies that have similar problems, and that they want to monetize their account receivables in an innovative way rather than go to a traditional factoring company. Right now, this solution is like, I would say, is trendy and well known in the crypto world. So you can simply Google supply chain finance, and you'll see very similar solutions that are building by different startups from different parts of the world. And I expect this to be trendy and adopted in the very early future. So yeah, if any questions regarding the cases, please feel free. So yeah, let's move forward. So another one is not about the fintech, but is about security. So I think, as everybody knows, again, blockchain provides data immutability, because you just simply can change the transactions happened in the past. So you can just create the new ones. And one of our partners from the United States, the company called Virgil Security, they asked us to help. So they are providing different cryptographic software. So they are helping companies with security of calls, videos, documents, communications, data transferring, and so on. By the way, so here is their website. You can check the products they are building, so on. And so they asked us to build a demo application for the conference they were going to participate in, and the demo application was supposed to be the application built on top of the blockchain that will help companies to track changes in the documents. So that was needed because in the business world there are many documents that are very important, and you can just allow yourself to lose any piece of information from those documents. And at the same time, you have to track changes, like when and who did what with the document, in order to have the whole history and the ability to revert everything back. Sometimes like it's crucial, and not many solutions on the market provide such a functionality. While the blockchain does, because as I've mentioned, the ledger itself is a subsequent like chain of the bricks, where each brick is a transaction or change with this document, and you can always be sure that you are backed up with all the changes. So we built quite a secured library on top of the blockchain system and the application itself, and helped them to get new orders. So they presented the solution on the conference, and by that they received like many inquiries for the same solution from companies from different countries. What's interesting here, so this demo application was created quite quickly. So we did it in only 3 weeks, and probably that's it. Another big cluster for the blockchain adoption is a supply chain. So this is one of our company's specialities and like main areas and of our interest. We have quite a few projects already successfully built and delivered, and I'm going to share a few ones with you. So just a few words about the supply chain. As I've mentioned, it's quite conservative industry with not that many innovations already adopted, and we expect that in the nearest future, the companies in the supply chain industries that are going to adopt innovations, they will simply outpace their competitors. Why blockchain is so important and interesting for this industry? First of all the logistics industry is the industry of intermediaries. So there is no like single supplier doing the whole cycle logistics. There are always carriers, logistics companies who are partners between themselves, and they have to communicate somehow between each other. So they have to align their document workflow, they have to align payments, contracts, delivery dates, and so on. And you can imagine how cumbersome this process is, just because they all use different systems, like separate systems, where it's really hard to integrate them between each other. And the blockchain is exactly the layer where all those systems can communicate with each other, because it balances the interests of the stakeholders. So we have to agree on the rules of the game once, and then we can use the solution that is automated and that is integrated with all the systems. At the same time, it prevents fraud. As I've mentioned, blockchain data is immutable, and nobody can corrupt the system. It reduces expenses. So blockchain system, as I've mentioned, it has low transaction fees, sometimes no transaction fees at all. So we don't have to spend much money on the transactions inside. And at the same time, it ensures real-time visibility. So we can monitor each transaction on the system, so we can understand the date, the issuer, who was involved, what happened, and so on. I will show you how. So here are the examples of such systems. So the first one case that I would mention here today is a supply chain transparency for gold mining industry. So that was the solution built by a startup for the United States, because in the United States is a quite huge regulatory compliance for the gold export-import operations. So they have to understand like when, where the gold was produced, when, what was the mine, like the jewelry factory, who was the importer or exporter, and so on. So it's a batch of the certificates that you have to be compliant with all the time, and regulations like introduced by SEC and other financial authorities. So that is why the startup decided to add some visibility to the whole supply chain of the gold in the United States. So we've built a Ethereum-based solution so it was a ledger where all the transactions with the gold were tracked by QR codes. So imagine like the gold mine when you're mining the gold and producing some gold ingots on the refinery. You can apply QR codes and to these gold ingots and activate by scanning the QR codes these ingots in the system. So you will receive like the first transactions that those ingots were created, and you can track that the ingots were created by authorized mine and authorized refinery, be sure that they are paying taxes, they do not use like children labor and other some unexpected situations, because many mines and refineries, they are located in Africa, and it's a common issue out there of using like children labor. So then we have to transfer this gold somehow to the jewelry factory, which could be located, for example, in Europe. And we have to be sure that this gold ingot was produced by authorized producer, was carried by authorized logistics company, and at the same time it should be accepted for the balance of this jewelry factory. So basically, after the gold ingot is produced, each stakeholder of the logistics chain scans QR code on the ingot in order to do the transaction on the blockchain. So carrier goes to the warehouse, for example, in Africa, scans QR code, takes gold ingots and transfers them to the jewelry factory, for example, in Europe. So we can see on the blockchain system that that this gold ingot was scanned, and this way can track the whole path of this ingot up to the jewelry factory. After that, for example, we are going to create some jewelry from these gold ingots, like rings, earrings, bracelets, bracers, and so on. So each derivative from this gold ingot can receive its own QR code that can be tracked again during the whole supply chain afterwards. So when jewelry factory produces some jewelry, it exports this jewelry to different countries, to jewelry stores, where like end clients like you and me can buy those rings. So at the end of the day, all the stakeholders, again, like logistics companies, jewelry stores, and so on, can scan QR codes and understand that the gold was produced originally by the authorized refinery, and the jewelry itself is produced by an authorized company. And the end user can be sure that the gold he's going to buy was duly imported, for example, into the United States or any other country, and there is no fraud and counterfeit. What's interesting with this solution is that you can simply replace gold with any other type of goods. So it could be not jewelry or metals. It could be raw materials, alcohol, food products, medicines, art objects, clothes, and many others. Because the technology itself works it's proved, and you can simply apply QR codes to any goods you want to track during the whole supply chain system. What's moreover, so the solution itself is quite customizable, so you can use it like as is, as a platform with a similar flow that I've just described. It could be used as a platform for document workflow automation. There might be additional features added. For example, one of the challenges that this platform does not tackle right now is like real-time visibility. When I'm saying real-time, I'm saying that we have to understand in online mode, like every minute or every hour, where exactly our goods are located. And for that, QR codes, as you can imagine, they won't help. So for that, could be used another technology, which is Internet of Things, and exactly some cost-efficient chips or sensors that are placed into each piece of product, and that are connected with the servers through narrowband IoT protocols, like cell phone networks and others, and we can collect GPS data about the exact location of our product batch, single goods, and others. And such type of information collected could be like big data, and we can even use this data to feed the AI or machine learning based models to do some like advanced analytics, for example, predict supply or demand, sales, and other valuable indicators for businesses. Another use case I'd like to present to you, and maybe even show if we have enough time. So as a project built for export-import operations on the agriculture market. So this is some statistics about the agricultural market itself. In a few words, the challenges that agriculture exporters are facing right now is those challenges are common, and you can see them. So it's more about the transparency, efficiency of the operation, about the cost of operation, about the timeline, because many of the documents in real world that should be physically sent, for example, from exporter to importer and vice versa. Also, there are again many intermediary parties that are participating in the export-import operations, and you can imagine that many companies, many exporters, they are spread around the world. So, for example, rice trading, like rice growing companies and rice exporting companies, they are located in Vietnam, while the rice consumers, they are located, for example, in the United States, in Europe, and other countries. So it's quite cumbersome operations with lots of stakeholders like banks, insurance companies, carriers and logistics companies, export-import agencies, exporters, importers themselves, end users, and so on. So that is why it's really important to build a blockchain-based solution that will help exporters and importers process export-import operations in fast and easy manner. And for that exactly, we built a blockchain-based global rice trading platform. And this platform was supposed to tackle the following challenges as the automation of the document workflow. That's the one. So ease the export-import operations by connecting exporters and importers on the platform, and making the whole process in a very transparent way. So I will switch to my browser and show you like in a few minutes the functionality of the platform, so I won't dig into the details, but I hope it will be spectacular enough for you to understand how it works. So the platform itself, it has different users. So there are in the MVP version there were 3 types of users, like importer, exporter, and inspection company. So the platform itself is a marketplace. As you can see, the starting screen is a kind of dashboard where you can have like the statistics about the rice trading operations, price of the rice, the volumes of trading, your open positions, and some exchange rates between like BTC, Ethereum, or Dash to USD, because the platform was supposed to work with the cryptocurrencies, so the payments were supposed to be made in the crypto coins. So as I've mentioned, the platform is a marketplace itself. So the first functionality is of course exchange. So this is the field where you can, so both importers and exporters can create requests, like trading requests. So for importers, for example, to buy, or for exporters to sell rice, and each party can see other like orders in the list and apply for this order or not. So that's I would say quick like order creation functionality. Maybe I won't create the order just because it will take time, but you can simply select like the price, the counterparty if you know the one, like the due date, type of rice you are going to buy or sell, the way it should be carried to another party, like crop year and other Incoterms and other parameters. So while the order is in the network, so you can check it and apply for this order. So what's happened next? So we can maybe open one of the trades that are on the platform, and so yeah, I will show you how it works. Yep, here that should be the most representative, I would say. So this is the whole journey of the operation. So it starts from accepting the order and signing the contract, nominating like the vessel or any other carrier, having all the documentary instructions and all the documents submitted to the platform, payments, and pending the delivery. So these steps, they exactly reflect the whole journey for the customer. So what's interesting here from the blockchain point of view, that each transaction on the platform is stored on the blockchain. So we can track all the history about the operation, and all the participants on the platform, they have their own tokens that grant them access to the platform. So we can track not only the changes and the transactions, like what was happened with this deal or operation, but again we can also track who was responsible for such changes or activities, and therefore be sure that those activities are authorized and everything is okay with our transaction. So this is the example of the order of the contract. It's quite standard on the platform. Documentary instructions, so they depending on the batch, of course, like shipping advice with the bill of lading and the documents itself. That probably is the most interesting part of the platform, just because you can imagine how many documents we have to submit to process like export-import operations. There is a number, so apart from like obligatory documents like bill of lading, invoice, and so on, there are too many certificates that you are usually have to comply with in order to fulfill the operation. So those are like different certificates of quality, weight, packaging, fumigation, like non-GMO certificates, and so on. And normally those certificates are they should be submitted by the exporter. So how it works? Exporter goes to like certification company and asks to certify his product batch in accordance with the requirements. When this is done, the third party on the platform, which is inspection company, goes exactly to the exporter's place and checks all the certificates and the product itself, so the rice, and make the decision that all these certificates they are like real, and the product is equal to what the certificate is saying. And all those documents are uploaded to the platform by exporter, while the inspection company approves these documents and like makes them authorized, so that importer on the other end of the world, he doesn't need to send, for example, his representative to the exporter's place to check the product batch. He can simply believe like the inspection company, their reputation, and believe them for checking, for example, the product batch. And so once all the documents are uploaded and approved by inspection company, then the system automatically initiates payment. So as I've mentioned, the payment is made in cryptocurrency, and it is made when the product is already on the carrier, for example, side. So it was dispatched, and it will be deposited to the exporter's account as exactly when the product will reach the importer's place. So the whole system works as a standard, I would say, letter of credit, when the payment is processed exactly when the product is arrived and the documents for the product are transferred to the importer. So once this has happened, then the deal is closed and completed. So that's how it works, like the marketplace in real life, and the blockchain proves all the transactions within the platform and allow participants understand that like everything is duly eligible, and everyone is authorized, and the operation like is okay and compliant. Yeah, and maybe I don't know. So are we on time with the case studies, or I should increase my pace of presenting?
In regards to the time, we're fine.
Okay. Yeah. So interrupt me if I'm not.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe the third one, the third case study that I'd like to present to you today is a blockchain solution, also blockchain-based system for tracking and tracing system for the goods lifecycle management. So it's quite similar to what I've explained about the gold supply chain, but it has some differences in realization. Maybe the best way to demonstrate such an application would be just to watch the video, and I'll explain like the whole journey inside the application. So just a few words about the startup itself. So it's a Ukrainian startup called Scandard, financed by the Ukrainian government in order to fight counterfeit, eliminate fraud, and ensure that all the goods are originally produced. So let's watch the video, and I'll comment what is happening right here. So yeah, it's called Deep. That's like a working name of the project. So as I've mentioned, the supply chain like transparency is achieved by applying QR codes to different products. So this slide is exactly shows how it happens. So we have like manufacturer side, carriers, warehouses or retailers, and the end customers that are like end consumers of the product, while everyone is scanning QR codes and writing transactions to the cloud-based blockchain ledger, so that manufacturer can track all the changes with the products during the whole life cycle of the product. Now I will show you how it works in real life. So this is the manufacturer side, and we have like manufacturer's representative that is interested in tracking the whole life cycle. Why it's important to the manufacturer is because manufacturer is the one who should be ensured that retailers and other sellers, they do not sell counterfeit. They sell exactly the product he produced, and at the same time, manufacturer is interested in collecting information about sales, different statistics, in order to understand how fast the goods are moving through the supply chain, so he can adjust manufacturing line, he can adjust marketing and promotional campaigns, and so on. So the information that he could receive through tracking the goods is very important for the manufacturer, and that is why he wants to track each goods and what is happening. So this cloud is a schematic representation of the chain, and all the goods, as you can see here on the line, they have their QR codes applied already to each box, and some kind of industrial scanner that activates each product on the network. So when the boxes are passing the scanner, we are creating the line in the blockchain, when we can understand that this product was originally produced by the manufacturer. And what's more important, we have a QR code on the container, like a product badge. So by scanning only this one QR code, we can make transactions with the whole goods inside the container. So this situation is exactly about X worked. So the carrier is going to collect the goods from the manufacturer's place. So he scans the QR code and makes a transaction on the blockchain that the products are received, and the manufacturer could be sure that everything is okay, so the products are on the carrier side. Then carriers are going to the customs, for example, for exporting those goods, and the custom officer again scans the products, and finally the products are going to be placed to the warehouse or retailer, and again there is only a simple operation to scan a QR code, while the manufacturer is tracking all the transactions with the goods. Then what happened next? In the supermarket there is an end customer, and he has his own mobile application. So it's worth mentioning that all the scans are done with a mobile application. There are two applications. So one is like a B2B one for manufacturer, carriers, customs, and other B2B players, and the other application is exactly for the end customers like you and me. So we can go to a supermarket, select any desired good with a QR code and scan it. When it's scanned, again the transaction on the blockchain network is created, and the manufacturer can track this operation and understand that the customer is going to buy a original product. What has happened when again this customer is scanning not original product? So the manufacturer receives a notification again on the ledger that the scan was performed and the product scanned was not original, and he can take measures to warn, to notify police officer or other authorities about this scan. So he understands the location of the scan and the name of the retailer and where it's happened. So he can ask the officer to go there and basically open the case that the counterfeit products are selling there. So again, this is something that has happened on the cashier side. So when you are buying the goods, cashier scans the box, and this way we can capture the fact of sale. So if, for example, someone is going to reproduce our goods and just reproduce the QR codes, we will understand this. That's because of the blockchain, because each QR code is original and authentic, so there is no way to mix up the things and just copy the QR codes. So imagine the situation that someone went to the store, bought the goods, and then replicated QR codes on his counterfeit products. And for example, wants to sell you these counterfeit products. You are going just walking around the street, see this guy selling counterfeit products. Again, you scan and you understand that it's not original. You can, and again, a manufacturer tracks all the transactions, and he can track the location, and again ask officer to go and take measures. And why it's important? So everybody like you and me can be sure that there is no counterfeit at all. So the products we are buying, they are original, and the manufacturer can have real-time visibility about the products sold around the world, and basically have the instruments to fight counterfeit. So that's in a nutshell the video and the product itself. And the blockchain here is a very important tool, again, for its immutability and for its immutability. So as a result, such type of solution, it allows us to eliminate counterfeit, because it's almost impossible to copy the QR code. If we are talking about like the high-end type of products, so we can be sure that all the IP rights are secured. Also, we understand that authenticity and origins of the product are guaranteed, and at the same time, manufacturer is able to capture like lifetime analytics about sales, about the whole life cycle of the product, and this way do some advanced analytics, predict sales, predict promotions, fine-tune them pending like input from the system, and so on. And for real users like you and me, I think this application is good in terms of the loyalty, just because I can be sure that the good I'm going to buy is original and like duly produced by the authorized manufacturer. By the way, this solution is also very flexible, so we can it could be adopted to almost any type of products where we can place products, again, like pharmaceuticals or perfumes, clothes, toys, car spare parts, different components, and so on. And on the left hand side you can see like the screenshot of the analytics on the manufacturer's side. So this I'll increase scale it up. So these green circles, they represent basically the scans on the map. So manufacturer can understand that exactly at these locations like a certain number of scans were performed, and so for example like 70% of them was they were okay, so the product were authorized, and for example some of them showed fraud. So he can take some measures against the reseller in this exact location and take measures to eliminate fraud, and therefore not lost big parts of revenue for his business operations. And of course, the major part of the blockchain technology's adoption is a cryptocurrency solutions. So I believe many of you are monitoring the market right now, and you see the hype, the prices for the Bitcoin and altcoins, and at the same time, so this is the reason for the industry to introduce even more blockchain-based solutions. So yeah, I would present a few cases that we successfully delivered in the fintech sphere. So the first one is, and maybe the biggest one, is a crypto trading platform with its own stablecoin. So this product was developed for the company in Switzerland, and the motivation for building such a platform was exactly to simplify the access for the investors to the crypto market and help them to secure their assets without high transactional fees. So all of us know that cryptocurrency is a very volatile asset, and all the investors, they have to secure their like profits in some kind of stable currency. It could be fiat, like US dollars or euros, or it could be stable coins, so again crypto coins that are equal in terms of price to the fiat currency, like dollars or euros. Like one of the most famous stable coins is USDT or Tether USD, which is a stable coin, and this is another example of the stable coin that differs from USDT because it is backed not with US dollars but with Swiss francs. So that is so the ideal solution was exactly to tackle like the counterparty risk, security risk, and market risks when you are holding the assets in cryptocurrencies or paying like high transaction fees to secure those assets in fiat currency. So the platform itself is a marketplace for investors where they can, on the one hand side, exchange their assets into the stable coin, or buy a utility token that was also issued by this platform to have some advantages on the platform, like different additional features, discounts, like exclusive accesses, and so on. So the stablecoin itself, as I've mentioned, was backed by Swiss francs, and the way it was backed is rather interesting. So 90% of all the banknotes, they were deposited in the bunkers, like physical bunkers that were located in Swiss Alps. So they were very highly secured, and each customer that was holding the stable coin, he has the right to exchange this token exactly for the amount of the real currency that this token was backed. That was achievable just because this startup was backed by a big Swiss bank who provided liquidity to the whole solution. And only 10% of the fiat currency that was backing the token was held by other Swiss banks. So this type of platform is very interesting because it's very secured and stable. And in order to ensure that, we were asked to apply very sophisticated custom-built KYC, so know your customer type of software. In the real world, KYC stands for exactly in this solution for almost 30 steps to verify the identity of the user, starting from the submission of different documentation like ID cards, passport number, like location, name, address, phone number, email, and so on, up to the real-time interview with the back officer from this platform that during the video call approves your identity and confirms your access to the platform. So there was almost zero chance to fraud or to make some suspicious transactions within the platform. So As a result, the platform was launched, and it was successfully operating starting from the 2019. As right now, and it's hype in the crypto world, and I suppose it's in demand for the crypto investors right now. There are also a few projects for cryptocurrency development from different partners around the globe. I won't stop here too much. I'll just mention that right now many businesses they are interested in having their own crypto solution in place. There are many types of tokens that could be useful to tackle certain business needs. For example, security tokens can help businesses basically to avoid IPO but do STO, which is security token offering, and this way attract more money for business and at the same time introduce some investment opportunity on the market. Utility tokens, which could be exchanged for some additional services that this company is providing, can be an instrument to attract more financing again, or like reward or asset tokens or stable coins. That they introduce also interesting possibilities on the financial market. And right now, blockchain technologies, they are pretty common in the world, so it's really not a big deal for anyone to create his own cryptocurrency. So it's very simple. For example, with the Ethereum chain, when you have like ERC20 standard smart contract that is like very simple to set up, and here you go. You have your own cryptocurrency. You can use it in your business processes. You can list it in one of the exchanges, and basically it opens like the door for businesses to have additional source of financing of their business operations, which is, I think, very important in nowadays world. So maybe that's it. I've spent almost an hour talking. Hope you've enjoyed the information I've shared. Maybe too much details or not too much, so up to you to decide. I would appreciate any questions you have about the information and case studies presented.
Thank you, Glib. It was indeed very interesting, and I believe I will look more into these use cases that you have just presented. I see already a question here from one of our participants, Dario. How can the QR scanner recognize a false product than a non-supported on-chain product?
Okay, thanks for the question. That's actually a very good question, Darian. Thanks for that. So as I've mentioned, all the products, they are activated on the manufacturer side, while the QR codes, they are unique and belongs to each product on the manufacturer side. So moreover, we understand which batch belongs to which supplier, to which carrier, and to which retailer. So because we have the transparency during the whole supply chain through the scans by each of the participants. So for example, the product was produced on the factory A, then transferred to logistics company B, and ended up in the store C, right? So we understand that this product is located right now in the store C. It's a very low chance that in the same store there is again a copy of this product, right? So in order to copy this product, we have to buy this product, go somewhere and copy this QR code, then like sell the counterfeit product somewhere else. But the trick is that we have previously to buy this product, and when it's bought, we have the notification on the chain that the product is already bought, and the QR code is, I would say, cancelled, right? It says that it is bought already. So if we copy this bought QR code, we will receive like 1,000 counterfeit products with not authorized QR codes, and scanning of those codes, we'll receive we will receive the result that the product is counterfeit.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope this answers your question. There are also ways to protect QR codes, indeed. So the QR codes itself, of course, they could be copied because it's just an image. But right now there are techniques of how to issue and to create basically QR code with some kind of holograms and very sophisticated kind of images. So it's not that even easy to copy a QR code itself. So those techniques are also recognized by the businesses around the world, and right now there is also a trend for having, I would say, like a holo code, which is much more sophisticated in comparison to the regular QR code.
Thank you, Glib.
You're welcome.
If I do not see any other, let me just check again here. Wait a minute, there was a question in the, okay. Okay, I see a question from Mario. NS agreement needs to be made between all parties that particular blockchain X and or Y token Y will be throughout the ecosystem between all parties, or okay, why don't I see it very well here? Can you see the question? Or is the agreement made within the consensus as long as the various stakeholders use the same blockchain?
I think this question is about the solution that I've presented about the agri-tech. Is that correct, Mario?
Mario, it's about that one, the agri-tech.
Is that about the rice exchange? I suppose yes, but I'd like to hear from Mario.
No, about the life cycle of the products, the life cycle of the products, yes.
Okay, so yeah, let me explain maybe in more detail. So exactly this project was built on top of the IBM's Hyperledger Fabric, and as I know, it doesn't have its own token just because there is no need to have this token for operations. So Hyperledger Fabric is a blockchain itself without token, is a ledger, like distributed ledger of the whole of all the transactions. Of course, it should be some kind of consensus between the parties for using this solution. So what do I mean? So it means that a manufacturer itself have to onboard like logistics company, carrier, have some agreements in place with the customers, like retailers or retailer chain for using this solution. Sometimes it's hard to onboard and receive consensus from other parties simply because they are cheating. So, for example, like logistics companies, they are cheating with some kind of goods that they are carrying, or they are involved in some gray schemes. Or what's more common, retailers, they sell counterfeit just because it's profitable. So in this case, it will be really hard to onboard such type of stakeholder into the chain. But when all the stakeholders, they agree that this solution is something that they want to use because they simply want to build this trust in the eyes of the end customer, then of course like mutual consensus will help us to implement such type of solution and use the blockchain behind the solution itself. Blockchain itself, I think, introduces some level of trust just because the ledger is held by all the participants, so they can hold this ledger, they can access this ledger with the rights introduced by manufacturer, because Hyperledger is interesting blockchain protocol just because it allows to set up the rights for different stakeholders. For example, logistics company can see all the transactions that belongs, for example, to the logistics company itself, and for manufacturer and retailer, but they are not allowed to see the transactions that belong, for example, to the end customers like you and me. At the same time, retailer won't see like the statistics that goes, for example, to manufacturer or to the logistics company. So that is kind of the balance of interest inside the system for all the stakeholders, and the blockchain is something that guarantees the security of the transactions, of the information for each and every stakeholder inside the system. So that is why if everyone is up for implementing such a solution, so security and data flow, I think, won't be a big issue for such type of players.
Thank you. I see another interesting question again from Mario. The whole chain internationally too needs to abide to a standardization. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's again, I would say, very good and a very major question right now. So first of all, we have to understand that this type of software is not standardized, right? Because like logistics standards, supply chain standards on the larger scale, they are introduced and approved by such players as government, some public organizations, and other authorities that are eligible to introduce those standards. This type of software is more about the mutual trust between the stakeholders, between manufacturer, logistics companies, and carriers. It's kind of like an eco standard that you can apply or not willing to apply to your product, right? So you can go for eco certification, for example, for the milk you are producing, but at the same time you can you are not obliged to do that by some standards. But if you are, in the eyes of the end customer, you seem more trustful, and he can be sure that your product is the part of the bigger chain with a higher level of trust to the manufacturer, and this way end customer can be sure that the products are protected, that he is buying an authorized original goods, that like just manufacturer and retailer cares about what he is buying, right? But I believe in the future it will become as a standard, because no one wants like the gray operations behind, right? Everyone wants to pay money for original product, and at the same time, if it's pricey, then the motivation is even higher. So I think it's just like a further priority for governments, for public organizations, for all of us to adopt such type of software. But that's just a matter of time.
Thanks. Well, people are asking if we can share your presentation. Can we?
Sure, yes.
Thank you.
It was exactly prepared for all of you, so please feel free to review it on your own pace. If any questions, as I've mentioned at the very beginning of the meeting, just feel free to reach out to me via email and LinkedIn. I will be happy to get into contact with you, get acquainted with you, and explain, answer all your questions that you might have.
Thank you, Glib. Then what I'm going to do, I will upload your presentation within the material of Module 0. So within our Moodle, so people can have access to it.
Sure, feel free. It's all yours. So I'm here just to share the knowledge, and actually it's a big pleasure for me because I'm missing, my good times at the university. So I like students. I like working with them. They're always trendy. They're always, on the cutting edge of technologies and innovations in this world. And it's an honor for me to be a part of such an interesting project like DLT. And again, Sola, Valentina, thank you for organizing this meeting. It's a big pleasure for me to share my knowledge and be here, answer such an interesting questions. So I think all of you enjoyed somehow my presentation and the knowledge I brought today for you. So thank you all for the questions and for the possibility for me to be here.
We thank you for being with us and for this very exciting presentation and the various use cases that you have presented. I would just like also to inform everybody that we are going to have one of Glib's colleagues the week we will be discussing also decentralized applications to present to us a little bit more on the technical aspects of these use cases that he has presented today. And remember tomorrow, if you have time again, and to join us for a virtual, in case that you have questions, to join us for a virtual office for about an hour or two, depending on the questions that we have, to continue the discussion on blockchain technologies. So thank you very much, and have a nice evening, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice evening, and looking forward to meet you all again. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.